I said they wanted to. I mean, Oladipo's a free agent after this year. I don't think he was super happy anyway. They wanted to get some value from the Oladipo end.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love those guys. Those guys were my sons, and I
Of
felt
course.
horrible. I felt horrible when they were traded, but I think the brain trust at the Nets, especially post, Dinwiddie getting hurt. You're not the same team. Without Dinwiddie, you're not the same team. And the insurance that you had for Kyrie is gone. You can't say
Yep.
that Bruce Brown is going to make everything all right, or make not having Kyrie okay. And so, if there was a move to be made, and honest to God, truth is, it's not even like LeVert can do all those things, right? But nowhere near on the level of what Harden can. If as much as I love LeVert, he's a good player. He's a fringe all-star. Sometimes in some years he'll make the all-star team, and I thought he would have had better numbers if he could have just stayed healthy more often. Now, James Harden is an all-time great. That was the main message that I got out of this game tonight, was that we were watching an all-time great. My father says he's the modern version of Earl the Pearl. And the last time an Earl the Pearl type played in New York City, they won a championship. And they won a championship with another great point guard in Clyde Frazier in the backcourt. So there's a lot of things to be optimistic about, but we can't fool ourselves. The Nets have major holes that a team like the Lakers can take advantage of, but not just a team like the Lakers. A team like the Sixers in 7 games could do a smash and grab and beat us, just because they have size, just because they could get those dependable buckets. And right now, DeAndre Jordan is a statue on defense. He cannot run out on center shooting threes at all, and Embiid is going to just destroy him. So, or like, God forbid, like, we don't have to worry about Jokic in the playoffs, but imagine meeting him in the finals. He would destroy DeAndre. Oh my God, he'd be he couldn't wait to play DeAndre in the finals. But but still, you have to be hyped about what we saw tonight. The numbers that they put. But let's dissect it the way we dissect the games every night. Let's do our 3 things.
Let's do it.
So, give me your player that most typifies what happened tonight.
I'm gonna go, I think, 2 straight times now with KD.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was absolutely money, especially in moments when the Magic started to get hot. I thought KD answered right back, and that's why he's a star. He basically took on the Magic on his own, especially because Harden from 3 looked rusty. But yeah, no, KD's my guy. How about you?
It's got to be Harden. When Harden wasn't clicking initially, it was almost like he was getting the feel for the controls that he was using. So he's getting the feel. The game, is kind of a back and forth. Orlando seems to have the upper hand in terms of energy, and they're scoring easy buckets. But Harden was probing. He was trying to figure it out. Like, KD was dominant throughout. Dominant. But Harden was trying to figure out, all right, where do I go off? I'm going to pass. I'm going to make sure everybody is set up. But where do I get mines? And then in the third quarter, you started seeing him just like take over, and not only just take over on the offensive end, but he was grabbing rebounds too, and he was being physical, which I like. Harden is like playing against a bowling ball, like a giant bowling ball, and so he started taking, getting a hang of his controls. And that's when you started seeing the Harden that it's going to be interesting to see, man. It's going to be really fun to see how things go with a player of this caliber. I mean, look, man, he doesn't even know these other guys, and there's some poor play. Like the other three people besides Joe Harris is the only other good player on this team. I submit that to you. It's Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Joe Harris, Dinwiddie when he's healthy, but not worth talking about. Jeff Green is not a good player, man. Like he's all right. He had a good game, and you could tell
his role. They're just asking too much of him right now.
Exactly. Like he's was an awesome pickup. He's over delivered from my standard or from my measurement on what Jeff Green is supposed to be, but he's not supposed to be the starting four on the Brooklyn Nets on a championship team. Like there has to be something different they do there. But even still, he made everybody look great. He made his teammates better. And I don't know how anyone's going to beat this team when Kyrie's on the floor. Like it's going to be interesting to see this develop. Like I said, this team is going to be a grand experiment on can you win a championship with offense, and with offense only, because the defense on this, like they were getting at it, they just weren't any good. And this is not a team that scores that much. And, they got theirs tonight. And it wasn't because they played well. Well, they did play well, but they're not a good offense. We're just not a good defense. And so, still, if we're going to win, it's going to be because we're an all-time great offense. Is that going to be enough? I don't know. We'll see. All right. What is your stat of the night? What stat mostly tells the story? Most tells the story of what we saw tonight.
So I'm going to go with the fact that they shot 46% from three, because Orlando was 30%. To me, that's basically like the difference. Orlando had a lot of good looks that they missed. Although props to Vooch, who was unbelievable today. He was just incredible. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to beat it's generally tough to beat the Nets when they're gonna shoot the way they did from three. And I think, and that's even with Harden going 3 of 10, which isn't even terrible. It's fine, but I think the one thing that is helpful is that having Harden, and this is even without Kyrie, you're having a lot less Taurean Prince shots. You're having a lot less long twos and threes, and a long threes from LeVert. Like that's where a lot of those shots were coming. It's unfortunate because I hate like wailing on these guys who aren't on the team, but like it just makes a difference. Like that's what you want to end up giving the stars as many opportunities as possible. It's why you always bat your better players earlier in the order. Like you want best guys to have those opportunities, and it's a difference. Like I mean, like as much as like we love LeVert, and I think he's a great playmaker, and I love him. There's a big difference between LeVert taking 5 threes and Harden taking like 7. It's just it matters.
10.
So. Yeah, 10, right? Yeah, exactly, 10. And like, and the huge thing, which you do see, this is the last thing I wanted to say on this topic, is when you have 2 of those guys on the floor, and hopefully Kyrie will be back in a couple of days. Like, it is impossible. Like, you can't really double any of them. Like, because if you do, it just ends up becoming a disaster because you end up having one of the other guys in single coverage, and when then they try to double that guy, then you almost can have almost two people open at once. And both these guys know how to pass. You know, like these guys aren't like RJ Barrett-esque who, like, once they get the ball, their head is down. Like,
Right.
these guys hit the ball and they notice they're getting doubled. It's immediate, like, pass. It's immediate, like, find the next guy. And so
Their
a lot of these
basketball instincts. You've never seen three guys whose basketball instincts are just on another level.
which is why like as you mentioned at the top of the pod, like the guys like Bruce Brown, TLC, Shamit, obviously Joe Harris, I knock on wood try not to worry about as much, but like the TLC Browns and Shamits of the world, they're going to get open looks, and in playoff games they got to hit, like as we saw in those Cavs games in the finals against the Warriors. Like, some of the difference makers was the Warriors had more guys that could consistently make threes. And when LeBron would hit Korver open or Dellavedova open and they miss, like, that stuff matters even though they're wide open. It's basically all those guys have to do, these role players on the Nets, is hit wide open threes. That's going to be their offensive contribution.
If they can look dominant, if they can get together and look dominant, these are going to be the most fun NBA finals. Like, last year's NBA finals wasn't fun because you knew, like, come on, like, yeah, Bam is good, but he's not going to beat LeBron and AD. Yeah, you know, we all love the toughness of who's the other supposedly superstar? What's his name? Jimmy
Buckets.
Jimmy, yeah, well, not Jimmy Buckets. That's it. Jimmy. You made me lose it. Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
You said Jimmy Buckets.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. But come on, Jimmy Butler. I couldn't even remember his name. Like
No,
he's not Kevin Durant. He's not even Kyrie Irving. He's definitely not James Harden. Nope. So if we could get the other things together, like playing defense, and you know, Harden was giving great effort, but no. Can I give my stat?
Please.
We had 19 turnovers.
Yep.
And Orlando had 12. So that's for us to win this game and lose the turnover battle the way that we show. It shows that there's another level that we can go. Because if we could start getting turnovers down into the 12s, the 10s, you know, below 15 a game, then, you know, we could have a really, really special team, because scoring 122 points with 19 turnovers is very, very hard to do, dude. Like,
yep.
That's pretty elite offense right there. So those turnovers tell us a lot about how the Nets were able to just use their like the intense gravity of what it means to have to defend either Kevin Durant or James Harden, and to make that choice on who you're going to double, even triple. Like, I think James Harden had so much joy on his face today because he's never been so wide open in years. Even with, Westbrook and these other guys, like, even with all the damage that he was doing, Kevin Durant still got 42.
Yep.
So if they could clean up the turnovers, dude, like, this could be